Hey there, I'm Ashley, and I'm a proud mama of two beautiful kiddos, a wife, a health and wellness coach, and a middle and high school shop teacher.
Hi, I'm Roberta, mama, wife, educator. I am an entrepreneur and homeschool mom navigating the work, family, social life balance.
Together, we will discuss various topics near and dear to our hearts, like routines, health, habits, self-care, and so much more. We think that living a healthy lifestyle is for every member in the family, from young children to adults.
Everyone in the household will benefit from the Teacher Mamas podcast. If you're ready to learn some helpful tips for the whole family, let's do this thing.
Hey y'all, welcome to our first episode. We're just gonna kind of go back and forth. Actually, I think Roberta's gonna ask me questions about my life, so you kind of get to know us a little bit, and then I'm gonna do the same thing for her.
All right, so Ashley, how did you and your husband meet?
Oh, okay, so we actually met our ninth grade year in high school. And I was 14 and I was not supposed to start dating. I actually was kind of a hidden relationship from my mother, and she ended up catching us at the movie theater. We thought, hey, she's not going to be able to see us as we walk through the glass doors here, and we were holding hands, and I got in trouble when I got home. And I was supposed to break it off, and then I kept going behind her back and talking to him late at night, and she caught me on the phone again. So that was the only time in high school I ever ended up grounded. But yeah, so that's been a long relationship. Let's see, I was 14 and I'm 30. What am I, 33? So it's been 19 years that we've known each other. We've been married for 11.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Why did you decide to become a teacher?
Well, I had a super awesome wood shop teacher when I was in high school. So here is my little plug for any females in high school or middle school or even outside, already graduated. We need more females in the industry. So that's kind of why it was very odd for a woman to go into something at the time, and I liked that because I like to be weird and different. And my shop teacher was very supportive and kind of pushed me towards it. Matt was very supportive of it at the time. We were able to go to Bemidji State together, doing the same program. My mom was very supportive of it, my dad, everybody in my whole family. So I just loved woodshop, and I actually ended up teaching a lot of kids in the class and liked that. So I was like, sure, why not become a teacher?
Why did you decide to become a mother?
You know, it's just kind of the thing to do, right?
Right. I was thinking about that answer too.
Yeah. You just like, I don't know. We wanted to wait. Like, I know some people are so excited and in a hurry to get married and have babies and like go on with their life, but we wanted to live our life a little bit first, and we did. We got to live in Alaska for a little bit, and then went to our next teaching jobs. I'll get to that in the next question, but and then you kind of start to become bored with each other almost. Like, it's just you two on the daily, and for some people that's cool, they like that, but we just kind of wanted something more. And you never get told how hard motherhood actually is. I mean, I guess people try and tell you, but you don't really listen, or you don't really understand the scope of what they're trying to tell you.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. I guess having kids, we always talked about it, and we always wanted kids to pass down our values and teach them, where the teaching thing comes in to play there again. But yeah.
So how did you get to where you are today? Tell us about your teaching path.
All right. So we graduated Bemidji in 4 years. So that was only a 4-year program. We did it in the 4 years allotted. We didn't want extra student loan debt. And then we just randomly went down to the cities for a job fair, and none of the job fair people that we actually wanted to talk to from Minnesota were there, but Alaska was there. And we had already kind of talked about Alaska, and we kept telling them no because they didn't have 2 jobs for us. So we we kept telling them no, and they kept like hunting us down throughout the job fair. And so their final offer was they offered Matt the shop position up there. They didn't have a second one, and they had a paraprofessional position for me, which would have been full time. Initially, when they talked to us, they're like, sorry, we have nothing. And I'm like, well, I'm not moving to the middle of nowhere and doing nothing. So they kept coming back and with more offers, and we accepted. Well, we had to actually make the decision that night. We literally had overnight to make the decision to get up and move from Minnesota and go to Alaska. So we were there for 2 years. I was a paraprofessional and did like cheerleading, which is totally not me, but I just did it because I had to. I was the athletic director at one point. I can't even think. You do like 10,000 jobs while you're up there
Okay.
because there's only so much staff. And then we moved to Fertile, Minnesota. Yes, Fertile. And that's when I got my first teaching job. I loved the staff. I loved the students. But my workload was very, very overwhelming. I was a hot mess the entire year, and I would constantly call my mom crying, like, I don't know if I can make it through this school year. And I did, but it was kind of at the point where I was like, I don't know if I want to do this again next year and be super overwhelmed again. And they actually called me in and ended up cutting my position, which I took as a big giant sign of I don't need to work here anymore. So while my husband was teaching at a different school for the next 2 years, I think it was, I actually just bartended and waitressed, which was super fun. I made more money bartending than I did teaching. And then I got a job in Onamia. We moved closer to the cities to be with our family, closer to our family. And then got a job there. I was a high school librarian and elementary computer teacher for 2 years. And then my variance / the position got cut. So at this point, I've pretty much been like cut from every position I've ever, not me personally, but like the position or the program ever taught in. And then 2 weeks, this was 2 weeks before the school year started. So I had no job. School was about to start. And then I applied at a job near me in our town that we were living in. And they never even called me back. I called them multiple times. He gave my name to a principal about 20 minutes from us, and he actually called me. I never even applied at the school that I'm working at now, which is just still funny to me because I almost gave up on education before I made it to the school I'm at now, which is in Hinckley, and I love it. I love the staff, love the students. Our admin is great, and this will be my 5th year there this year, and I've been really building the program up to what I have wanted it to be and really trying to get more girls in tech. So that was a very long teaching path for me.
Well, it's okay. Mine will be equally as long. But I think
Okay.
that's crazy to think about that you've been there for 5 years because that time has gone so fast. And that means our
I know.
families have known each other for 6 years.
Yeah, I know. Isn't that weird?
Yeah, it's definitely weird to think about. And our babies were so little.
So a little backstory. We actually know each other because we didn't actually say this yet. We know each other because our kids, when I worked in Onamia, our kids went to daycare together. So that's how we are like best friends now, and our kids are best friends. So it's
It's so
been
cool.
super fun. All right, on to you. How
We,
did you and Derek meet?
we met on a lake, is the simple answer. The
Mhm.
slightly more a complicated answer. My nephew and I and my sister, we went to a friend's house that had a boat. My nephew was really little at the time, about 2 years old, and he was so excited to get to ride on a boat. That was kind of the big selling point. That was the reason we went to this friend's house. And we get there and we find out the boat was broken. Couldn't use the boat. So for those of you with young 2-year-olds, think terrible twos, and you can imagine the tears that ensued when he found out we could not go on a boat ride. And so our friend, just feeling horrible about the situation, called up his buddy who had a boat and said, "Hey, are you doing anything today? Like, do you want to come over, bring your boat, and we can go boating?" And his friend said, "Sure." And basically came right over. He used the public access, got his boat in, and drove the boat over to where we were. And my nephew runs down the hill to the lake when he sees the boat, so excited, and just jumps in the boat. And he's like, "All right, let's go." And I'm yelling after him, wait, hold on. And anyway, that is how I met Derek, was frantically chasing after this 2-year-old jumping into a stranger's boat. That wasn't a stranger for long, but it's kind of a funny story. And so we met there, and then a couple more times out on the lake. And then our friendship just kind of budded from there. And we were married a year later. So
Super quick.
super.
I love it. All right. Why did you decide to become a teacher?
I really didn't know what I wanted to do with my life when I graduated high school. I really had no idea. I knew you were supposed to go to college, but I just hated, right. But I hated the idea of spending money, A, that I don't have, that I would have to pay back, and B, even if I had the money, spending it on an unknown. I had no idea what I wanted to do. So I ended up just trying a lot of different jobs. Some were volunteer things, some weren't, and a lot of them kept gravitating towards kids. And then I ended up landing a classroom paraprofessional job. And so I got to work really closely with 2 first grade teachers. And they showed me the ropes and really encouraged me. They were really wonderful role models, and got me thinking about a profession in education. So that next year, then I enrolled in school, and I spent money I didn't have, but I had a goal in sight, so it was worth it.
Right. All right. Why did you decide to become a mother?
Yeah, I've always wanted to be a mom. Wasn't 100% sure that I wanted to biologically be a mom. That kind of came later. We ended up having 2 kids of our own who are absolutely amazing and very, very different. I wouldn't say polar opposites, but they're different and make me think and ponder all the time about how, 2 or more, kids, how kids can come from the same parents. Each kid can be so drastically different and think so drastically different. And it's fascinating to me. So.
All right. And last but not least, how did you get to where you are today? So tell us about your teaching path.
Yeah. So like I had said, started out as a classroom paraprofessional. Did that for first graders. Absolutely loved it. Did college exclusively for a little while. And then I heard about the Minnesota Reading Corps. And that's when I fell in love with intervention. And by extension, I was also taking special education courses at the time, and fell in love with that. But then we moved out east to Pennsylvania, and I went to Penn State, Harrisburg, continued, with general ed and special ed. So I ended up graduating with an elementary education. So I was certified, basically preschool through grade 4. And then I also had my special education certification in that same age range. Then we decided to move back home to Minnesota. We had our daughter by then, and we just really wanted her to grow up by her grandparents. So we moved back and I got a job, and that's kind of how I met Ashley. And I worked there for 4 years in various positions. And then COVID hit. I made the hard but easy decision to quit my job teaching kindergarten and stay home with my kids and create my own business, which has turned into a blessing in so many ways that we can talk about at a different time. But basically, my business provides intervention in both reading and math for kids in preschool through high school.
Okay, one last thing that we have not talked about yet is, okay, so you're both teachers. Well, how did you get into the health and wellness side of things? And I think a lot of it, I want to say, comes from the COVID season that we were in. Being a teacher during COVID was so hard. I was like, I need to do something because we were stuck in front of the computer all day long. And for us being teachers, that's not normal. Like
right.
we are up and moving around our classroom all the time. And for me, like I'm working on projects with the kids and all that kind of stuff. And so like that was not only physically draining, not being able to be up and moving with the kids, but it's mentally draining. And like staring at a computer screen all day is mentally draining. I know like you had been saying how you wanted to start doing something too. And so I asked Roberta, hey, you want to do this thing with me? And we figured out like the costs and everything. And we're like, yep, let's do it. We need some sort of accountability. We started working out with each other every morning before we had to start distance learning. So I actually started coaching because I loved it so much in July. So I'm actually a part-time health coaching right now as well. So that's kind of where this whole podcast idea stemmed from.
Yeah, and like
super long explanation again.
Right. But I think that's okay. I mean, that gives insight into us and our personalities. And we had talked a lot about, different podcasts and books that we've, listened to and read. And we just kind of realized that there's a lot out there for adults. But how awesome would it be if these habits that we are starting to learn about now as 30-some-year-olds, if we had known these years ago, if we had known these as, as young as our kids' ages, how much of an impact that would have made on our lives. And so talking about that and talking about how, well, we can adapt these things to be, a 6-year-old level. We can adapt these things to middle and high schoolers. And there just isn't a whole lot of that out there. And talking about it more and thinking about it, I think we landed on a great topic that we're both very passionate about. Don't judge us based on our first episode, stick around, listen for a while, and then make a decision, because we'll get better every time.
Also, this is a little bit longer episode, and the episodes that we're planning on doing in the future, we're hoping to keep less than 15 minutes to honor your time. So
absolutely short and sweet, to the point. Yep.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, thanks for sticking around, everybody. Hope you have a great day. We want to thank you guys so much for taking the time out of your day to listen to us chat about healthy family living. We would love to hear your thoughts or any ideas you have for future episodes, so feel free to message us at theteachermamaspodcast@gmail.com or the Teacher Mamas Podcast on Instagram. It would also mean so much to us if you would leave a quick rating or review on whatever platform you're listening from.
If something really stood out to you today, Don't forget to share it with someone else in your life that might need to hear it too. Spread the word. Please don't forget to share with your online community and tag us. For more positivity and inspiration on how we navigate life and the things we do on a daily basis to stay sane in the crazy, don't forget to go follow each of us on Instagram. Check the show notes for our handles.